This is a friendly. Friendlies are as important to TF2 as Goonabait skins are to Marvel rivals. Sure, each game plays perfectly fine without them present, but both games would lose a huge part of their identity if they weren't in their respective games. Now, if you're an experienced TF2 player, you've probably seen quite a few of these creatures around during your time in the Dust Bowls of TF2, though some are notably more common than others. These days, it is far more likely to stumble across an A-posing heavy than a demo crab. And if you're anything like me, you might be wondering why that is. I mean, yeah, this just looks funnier than any demo man with a contorted arm ever could, but is this really the whole story? Or is there something more to this? Is there an optimal strategy to being friendly? Is there, dare I say, a meta? To find an answer to this dumb question that no one has ever asked, I decided to embark on a bit of a journey. I decided that I would play 1 hour of 2 Fort on every class in the game while being friendly and track just how effective each class was. Now, measuring effectiveness in a playstyle known for being the exact opposite of effective was going to be quite tricky to say the least. So I just simply decided that time spent alive spreading whimsy was the best measurement of effectiveness. I would be tracking my deaths across all 9 classes throughout the full 9 hours of 2 Fort gameplay. Although, to prevent a single server full of either friendlies or tryhards from skewing my data, I would swap servers every 10 minutes if the ongoing match hadn't ended yet. Next, I had to sort out my swag. Normally, I just play with my regular loadout, but to keep things consistent, I decided that all of my mercenaries would have to be identical. I decided to keep it simple and go with the balloony hoodie and the Pyro vision goggles. In part because this look just radiates friendliness, but mostly because, believe it or not, I didn't want to buy a Max's head for this video. So that should be all bases covered. With my goal, method, and my ever-important drips sorted out, it was now time for me to hop into some casual 2 Fort games and track some deaths.
9 hours later.
And the results are in. Unlike in my Afterburn video, this time I don't need to do any math to find the results that I'm looking for, so we can just jump straight into the ranking. Coming in dead last with a staggering 65 deaths, we have the Spy. Now, this result actually surprised me. I thought for certain that with all of the Spy's different ways of being friendly, that he would be way higher in the ranking, but sadly for our conniving Frenchman, that just wasn't the case. However, upon further reflection, this result does make a bit more sense to me, as during my time gathering the data for this video, some of my most common killers were Demo Knights, soldiers that were specifically used in the original, confused free-to-play players, and finally, other spies chain-stabbing a bunch of friendlies. Who knows, maybe the TF2 community just has a build-up resentment for the Spy that they're taking out on the spy crabs of 2 Fort. Regardless, much to my dismay, the Spy ended up at the very bottom of the ranking. Just ahead of the Spy by 3 deaths, we have the other one-shot class, the Sniper. And again, this is another class that I was surprised to see this low in the rankings with his 62 deaths. In my mind, having access to both air humping and the Machinus misfire spam was a recipe for success. But apparently, the fine folks of 2 Fort just don't agree. I think we have a similar situation going on here as we did with the Spy. I got killed quite a lot by fresh install snipers during this experiment, and the TF2 community at large has really not been happy about Sniper these past years. So maybe some of that hatred manifested itself in this data, leading to more experienced players taking out their frustrations on this poor Kiwi. Nonetheless, Sniper sits comfortably at number 8. In 7th place, with a total of 54 deaths, we have the Engineer. Engie was a weird class to friendly with. I decided to go for the Tiki Gun brand of friendly, which proved to be quite troublesome. I had to be very quick to set up my gun, because people very understandably had a tendency to kill me in a panic when they saw the mini go up. Now, when the gun was finally up, the entire atmosphere of the server would change pretty much immediately, as people would just admire the mini sentry and join in with their own tiki guns. But the sheer number of deaths during the gun setup phase handicapped the engineer too much, resulting in this low placement. Dashing into the number 6 spot, we had the scout with 53 deaths, only one less than the engineer. I don't really have much to say about the scout. Sporting only 125 health, the scout is very easy to kill, even on accident. That, combined with this high movement speed, made it very easy to get back onto the field and die again. Now, if we do a bit of theory crafting, you could maybe argue that the scout's douchebag personality was kneecapping him a bit. Though this theory is entirely unsubstantiated and just pure speculation on my part. At the halfway point, we have Soldier in the 5th spot, with his 45 deaths. Soldier was the first class that could consistently spawn entire friendly hangout spots on the map by himself. His 200 health made him pretty decent at taking hits when walking around corners, so I wouldn't get killed on accident, and his goofy nature and status as the brain-damaged psycho probably helped him a bit in the funny department, making it far easier to stay alive as Soldier compared to the classes before him. In 4th place, we have the Medic. And this was yet another surprise for me. I thought for certain that Medic would be placed at the bottom 3, as A, I rarely ever see friendly medics around, and B, the Medic is the strongest class in the game, so having one present on the enemy team could very quickly lead to a team wipe, even if that Medic just so happens to be a fresh install Andy. But surprisingly, the Medic only had 43 deaths. He would have had more for sure if it wasn't for his passive health regeneration and his 107% run speed, as I was still quite the target, especially for free-to-play Pyro players. Taking home the bronze medal, we have the Demo Man with a respectable 32 deaths. Demo Man seems, to me at least, to be a bit of a sleeper pick, as the only time I ever saw other friendly Demo Men was when I was doing the demo crap in the enemy base and some of the opposing players wanted to replicate the weird arm glitch. The 200 health and damage resistance of a Demo Knight also helped out a great deal, as yet again, free-to-play Pyros were really keen on taking me out. I honestly didn't expect Demo to make the top 3. I thought for sure he would hover around somewhere between the 5th and 7th place. Good on you, Demo. In 2nd place, as you've probably guessed by now, we have the Heavy. Wait, no, that can't be right. Wait, you're serious? No, there's no way. No, there's actually no way. Yep, you heard me. In 2nd place, sporting a solid 27 deaths, we have the Heavy. And trust me when I say that I am just as surprised as you are. Not only is Heavy the face of TF2 as a whole, but his evolved forms, the Hoovy and the Pootis bird, are also the most iconic friendly classes in the game. And going into this experiment, I was legitimately willing to bet money on Heavy taking the number 1 spot. The Heavy's iconicity of course carried him decently far in this experiment, but I'd argue his huge health pool helped him out an even greater deal. If some gibbous Pyro were to come along and flame me as Heavy, I could just violently shake my head from side to side, and if that wasn't enough to get the fresh install Andy to stop, I would usually be backed up by other friendlies who were willing to shed blood on my behalf. That, combined with the sandwich, made it very easy to stay alive as Heavy compared to most of the other classes, leading to this high placement. And finally, at the number 1 spot, we have the Pyro. Now, I know this looks bad. I know, I see the channel branding, Pyro's my most played class, but I swear, I'm not trying to spread some Pyro superiority agenda or anything. Throughout this experiment, Pyro only died 24 times. I definitely thought that the Pyro would make top 3 for sure, maybe even top 2. But I never imagined Pyro taking the crown as the best friendly class in the game. These 24 deaths are despite Pyro being able to move way faster than Heavy, both with the thermal thruster and its 100% run speed, allowing for more potential to get back onto the front and die more often. I think this outcome is simply just a product of times changing. Back in the day, the Hoovy and the Pootis bird were the definitive friendly classes for sure. They were everywhere, and most people avoided killing them out of respect. But with the Pyro receiving a lot of cute coded cosmetics over the years, and the widespread popularization of ape hosting, which is very quick to do as Pyro, I think that in modern day TF2, Pyro just might be the de facto friendly class in the eyes of new gen players. This actually works out perfectly for me, however. Since Great Blue is the de facto Pyro main YouTuber, I can now occupy the widely requested niche of the fabled Pootis Pyro main YouTuber.